All right. Hey. Welcome everybody. Welcome to my channel once again. My name is Francis Ifeacho, and I am a speaker, an author, and also a spiritual teacher. And joining me today on this platform is Mr. Tobi Nwokedi, and he's a new and upcoming podcaster and a YouTuber as well. And it's a pleasure to have him on this show today. Just as you already know, on this channel, I discussed um, all things spiritual. I'm also here to answer your questions. So today we're going to be having like a live interactive session with my brother here, Mr. Toby. And he does have a list of beautiful, thought-provoking questions to ask, and hopefully we can get to answer all those questions today in today's session. And let us introduce Mr. Toby.
Thank you, Francis. Hi, my name is Tobi Nwokedi. Like Francis said, I'm a new up and coming podcaster, trying to learn different point of views about the podcasting game and just keep keep learning, keep experiencing different things about the game and just soak in as much knowledge as possible.
Awesome, awesome. That's the way to go. That's the way to go. By meeting other people, other YouTubers, asking questions, and that's having the right set of network around you. That's the way to grow as well. All right. So without much further ado, let's dive into today's live session. And this video is also made for others to watch and learn one or two things. And I'm open to your comments in the comment section. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave your questions in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions as well. All right, let's see what you have for me today, Mr. Toby.
Okay, so one of the questions I have to you today is that you talk about a lot of spiritual self and knowledge. So one question I have for you is how do you get to a phase of such enlightenment and just such self-awareness where you're completely comfortable with who you are and how you're becoming spiritually and mentally.
Good question. That's a very good question. Very it takes me back on my personal journey as well. So for me, growing up, I had always been interested in I was born into a Catholic family. I together with my parents and my siblings, we always went to church every Sunday, and it was a common normal thing for us to go to church every Sunday. My mom was very she was more into church than my dad was, but as a tradition in the house, every Sunday we went to church, and then maybe every during the weekends, during the weekdays, my mom would go to for like other church activities as well. But for me personally, I had always been interested in like more spiritual things, like just sort of okay, what lies out there beyond the four walls of religion. And but growing up, because I come from a middle class Nigerian household, so I never had the opportunity to actually explore my interests until I left home. So um, nursery school, as we call it, pre-K here, elementary school and high school, I was at home. It was not until I got into the university that I got my first cell phone at 16. So that was right after when I was finishing high school and getting into college. Then I left home for college, and that kind of like freed me up a little bit to actually explore myself, explore parts of myself, and things like that. And I had always been someone to be interested in spiritual topics as well. I remember watching a few movies as a kid, and I had questions, but I had no way to answer them because everyone around me was more religious and they could not really answer my questions. So it wasn't until I got into university, I had a cell phone, I was able to do some research about myself, and it was in that process of discovering myself that I had my what we call my spiritual awakening experience. I was about 18 and a half years at the time when I had this experience. This is where when I awaken spiritually. So this what this concept means is this is when you awaken to the fact that we are souls having a human experience. So we're not just human beings first, who maybe just maybe we have a soul inside of us, right? We are human souls first and foremost, and we're having a human experience. So that is part of spiritual awakening, awakening to the fact that we are all souls first, and our time here on earth is quite temporary. So Yeah, so that brings me to that to answer your question. So I awakened at 18. Right now I'm 34, and ever since my life has been different. It's helped shape my life, the way I live my life, the way I see life, and the way I interact with others as well. Um, Made me closer to God as well, especially knowing who I am and knowing who we all are actually. And it's something that everyone else can also achieve if, as long as they're interested in doing that as well. I hope that answered your question.
It really did. It really did. Like for me, like how I like build confidence in myself and
Hmm.
trust in my instincts. Like do what needs to be done.
Can you
Like
hear me?
whether whether it be like work, school, just anywhere in general. Like for me, like I
Can you
took.
hear me?
Oh yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. Sorry, I didn't hear that part. But yeah, like for me, like
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. I can hear you. But yeah,
Okay.
for me, like I always like took knowledge from like different sources, and it's not just like listening to people is just not enough. Like you also gotta like experience things out in the world and just like absorb that knowledge, like capitalize on it, and just like improve upon it like every day. Like for me, I was like you, like I grew up in Nigeria. Like I started off in like primary school, and like when I turned around like 12 or 13, I moved over to the United States. I feel like moving to the United States, I was able to like build myself as a person, because
Hmm.
back in Nigeria I always felt like a shell of myself. I didn't feel like I was really myself. I felt like I still had a long way to go. Like I still had more ways than once, like grow as a person and just like evolve. So
Right.
like you, like I had to like look to God a lot, and like I'm trying to get back into like being like a fellow like child of God, and just like looking towards Him, and just like trying to pray every day. And like my parents always told me like trust in God every single day of your life. Don't trust Him in the moments that you need Him. Trust Him every single day of your life.
Right.
And my parents are right. I'm 21 years old right now, but I'm a very innovative thinker. I like to think ahead. Like I don't like to like settle and just let things come to me. I like to like be proactive and be on my feet, and just like go after it. Like just try and like make things happen. Like podcasting, I want to be a good podcaster. So I actually want to like stand out like with good podcasters. So I got to
Right.
start from like the bottom. Like I got to like that's why like most 21-year-olds are not like me with different companies, like trying to compromise like different deals, and just trying to like plan ahead for their future. Like I'm not saying all 21-year-olds are like that. It's just some would rather like settle and just let things come to them than like be innovative, like be creative, like just take charge of like your future, like go after like what you believe in. So for
Right.
me, like as a young adult, like I feel like the earlier you do it, like the better the outcome will be, like along the line in the future.
Hmm.
I even spoke with like some of my closest friends about it, like here in America. They said like you're making a smart decision, like you're going after what you want like early, like in your adulthood, and you're like, making moves to be successful. And they said like they're proud of me for that, but I'm proud of
Right.
myself for like, thinking ahead, because I want, like I said, I want to take charge of my future. I want to, be successful in life, and I want to like, take the steps to become successful.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you're heading in the right track. You're heading in the right direction. You have the vision. You have the goal. It also feel I can also guess that I can also tell that you're pretty self motivated as well. So that's definitely the right way to go. The steps that you take in your twenties, determine your outcome in your thirties, and like that in your forties and fifties. So,
Hmm.
yeah, I would say you're taking the right steps and also in the right direction as well. You're also going to college. That's good. It's always good to have that as well.
Thank you, thank you.
So, to add on to what something that you said, you're welcome. Everyone is a child of God. Like no one can it's called regardless of their religion or religious belief, because he created everybody, every individual person. Behind everybody is a soul that lies inside, and the soul is what comes to represent God. And we are manifestations of God in different forms, in different colors, in different bodies, in different races, in different genders and things like that. So by default, we're all children of God, right? In that aspect, it's all about how close are you. Are you close? Like for example, we have fathers, we have mom, but then are you close to your dad, or are you close to your mom? You know what I'm saying? By
Mm-hmm.
default, we already you're already a child of your dad or your mom. No one can take that away from you. It's a matter of how close are you to your dad, right? Or how close are
Mm-hmm.
you to your mom, right? Exactly. So this is where spirituality comes into play, because when you become spiritual, you realize first that this is when you know on a deeper level that you are a child of God. Like no one can take that away from you. No one can tell you like you're breaking free from illusions. Now religion can come and say certain things that you know that no, this is not true, because you know the truth. Like you've awakened and you know yourself. You know yourself as a true creation of God. No one can take that away from you, right? And
Mm-hmm.
that influences how you live your life, how you see life, how you view other people, even the choices that you make, and your life takes on a whole different meaning. Once you first understand spirituality, who you are, and then once you also awaken as well. All right. So I understand that you have some questions. Do you want to start with the questions?
Yes, I'm gonna also capitalize on what you said. Like we're all children of God, but like some, I feel
Can you
like
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you. But yeah, like you were saying, like we're all children of God, and I want to capitalize on that question. Like how do you become like so spiritually enlightened, and how can you like share that advice with like people in today's era where like everyone is consumed by like what they know, what they follow on social media, and like who they influence, and not really like tapping into like the fundamentals of life, and just like connecting with like God on a spiritual level. So what advice would you give to like the younger generation like myself?
Oh, you're breaking up.
Oh, sorry.
Can you
Can
hear me?
I might can you still hear me? Can you still hear?
You're breaking up.
Oh, okay. Hold on. Gotcha. All right. Can you hear me? Can you hear?
Um. So, I'll, very good question, right? Very good question. Yeah, good one. Anyone can be spiritually enlightened. It's all about having the first of all the interest to connect more with your spiritual side, right? So
Yeah.
it all starts first with the interest. Um, and some people naturally have this interest in spiritual things. For some people, it can be an aka forced, in the sense that certain life events can actually maybe unintentionally pick you in that direction. So let's say for example, like somebody might be going through a major life event like a divorce, or maybe they had a major life disease. These are things that actually get you out of all of the noise and hullabaloo out there in the world, and it gets you to sort of gives you a time to reflect. And it's in that process of reflecting, like, is this really what life is about? Is this what I think my life is all about? Certain things can actually, jumpstart you or jolt you into actually awakening. So some people they awaken unintentionally because they were going through a major life event that sort of awakened that interest in them. For some people, they've always had that interest. Maybe they're very spiritual. They've been going to like they do meditation. They will go out in nature and things like that. And to also answer your question, social media, it does have a lot of content out there that draw people's attention. So if you're not yet awakened, it's actually, how do I explain this?
More
It's
difficult to like reach you.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It can be your interest can be taken in different directions, because you're just going out there, going with the flow, seeing what excites you. But then once you awaken, once you know who you truly are, if you find out that there's certain things you just cannot entertain or watch, because they don't actually resonate with who you've become, the new version of you. So you pretty much become selective of what you watch, and what you follow and things to allow into your system, because you don't want to be, if you do a good job in cleaning yourself up on the inside, you don't want to allow external influences to come in and mess up the work that you've already built for yourself and on the inside. So you have to be selective about what you watch, what you allow into your system, and things like that. Yeah. So, but first, like I said again, it's there are two ways. It's to become enlightened. If I have to have the natural interest in that, or a major life event can actually sort of unintentionally push you in that direction. Pretty much. I mean, there are people who have had what we call near death experiences. So this is where they had, they came close to the point of passing. Some actually passed away for a few seconds in a hospital setting, and then they were revived. And normally, when they are revived, and for that minute, their souls leave their body, right? And have some transcendental experiences that change their life forever. And then when they come back, their lives are never the same again. And if you notice that sickness or the event or the car accident, whatever that got them into the hospital in the first place, that made them awaken afterwards, you can tell that it wasn't direct, it was unintentional, it was indirect, right? So maybe they never had any interest in becoming spiritual, but just because now they've had that experience, now their whole life has changed in a brief moment, pretty much. Yes. So I hope that answered your question.
Yeah. So you're saying it takes like for someone to like be spiritually enlightened, they have to like experience like death firsthand. So like that really intrigues me because like
No, no, no,
no, I
no,
know,
not at all.
I
No,
know what
no,
you're trying
no,
to
no.
say. Like they have to experience something like close to traumatic to like be enlightened to like follow God and His path. Like I'm not saying someone has to like be killed or like be murdered. Like I'm not saying that, but the way you're saying it, you're saying like someone has to like go through something truly dramatic and traumatic to like truly like align themselves and just like realize that there's only God. Like there is no like any higher being than like God. Like there's only God is the one that made like all of mankind. God is the one that like created choices for mankind, and God is like the one that can it that can like influence like every decision you make and can be impactful in every facet of your life. So that's
Uh,
what I'm.
well, not you don't really have to suffer to be awakened. Like I didn't have to suffer myself, right?
On.
So I will just give you examples of like some
Yeah,
people come again. Some
no,
people
it's,
are naturally interested in spiritual things,
yeah,
and for some people, like I give an example. For some people, certain life events can actually trigger that awakening in them. It's not always the case, but now I want you to understand something, right? When you think about religion, right? Religion is it's a good place. When we are born, a lot of us are born into religion. It teaches that there's a God and good, evil, and things like that. It's a good place to start. I want you to think about religion like think about a room with four walls, right? Now you're in that room. Beyond the four walls of that room lies a whole vast array of world out there, and that is where spirituality lies. It goes beyond religion, right? So a lot of people find themselves in that four walls of religion. They never leave because that's all they think there is out there. But some people, if you're willing to be courageous enough to take a step beyond the religion, you're not leaving religion behind. It's always a part of you. It never leaves you, right? But then once you step outside of those four walls, then you get to actually experience a lot more than what religion can actually offer you, because religion is can be quite restrictive to a point. Like for example, they might only want you to read from a book, the Bible, which is okay, but now there's way more out there than the Bible contains, right? So
mhm,
if you limit your knowledge to only what the Bible says, then you can only reach a mark in a certain amount of growth in life, and then you just remain there,
mhm,
and you're still within that four walls of religion, right? So if you want to keep growing and keep on expanding, you have to be willing to step outside the four walls of religion. It doesn't mean that you're leaving it behind. It's like you're graduating to the next level.
mhm.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah, I understand what you're saying.
Some
Like that.
people, for some people, they have that naturally. Some people are naturally curious, right? Oh, let's see what's behind this wall, beyond that wall. I want to see what's on the other side of the wall. They have the natural interest. For some people, they're okay with staying within these four walls. That something has to really push them, literally push them outside. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah, I
that
know
push
what
is
you're
to
saying.
a major life event that can happen that can unintentionally push them beyond the wall, and now they're like, oh wow, it's a whole other world out there that I never even anticipated. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I know
that's
what you're
how I was
saying.
trying to explain it. Yes, pretty
Yeah.
much.
And I understand. Like some people, some people will limit their knowledge like only to what the Bible says, and you're right. Sometimes that can like hinder their growth in life. Like,
Right.
that's the same thing with me. Like in a way, like I get it. Like school, say like for example, middle school, high school, college. They're all important. They're all important essentials. Like your growth as a human being. Like from a
Right.
child to a teenager to an adult. But do not hinder yourself to the knowledge you learn like within like the walls of school. Like that's why I always like tell like other people that like a little bit younger, like freshmen, because I'm a senior in college. Explore the world, like keep exploring the world. Like do not limit yourself to the knowledge like you learn in the classroom. I know like the
Right.
knowledge you'll learn in the classroom will be useful. Like some knowledge you'll learn will be useful like to in different career professions you're gonna choose, whether you want to be a lawyer, a police officer, a lawyer, or even like a entrepreneur, like a businessman or accountant.
Right.
Some like knowledge you'll learn in the classroom will be very essential to like your career, but not all of it is gonna be essential because like there's the
Right.
thing, like you gotta have like it's it like if like someone once told me like book smart is like very important if you want to like nail like the big deals or just like learn the simple analytics or the fundamentals of like your profession, but you gotta have like a different type of smarts. Like street smarts, like it helps you like learn the way like how things work, like learn how to like
Ways of life and how to navigate through life
having
circumstances.
how to navigate through life and just like how to close deals the right way. Like don't be like a mathematician, like where you're just like just stiff and like
How street
just
smart,
book
yeah.
smarts and just like sound like a robot or a computer. No
Right.
offense,
Yeah,
but you also
you
gotta
have a point.
yeah.
Yeah, being book smart is different. My mom will always say that being book smart is different from being street smart. You
But
need,
but street smarts will help
a
you.
lot of
Yeah,
yeah, a
but
lot of
street
successful
smarts will
people
help you
in
get to
life.
places.
They take you far. Exactly. Book smart
Yeah,
is if you want to stay like within like the field of academia, like yes, don't need to be street smart. You can if you can advance as a professor or something like that. If you're gonna
yeah,
be out there in the field in the actual world, then street smart is will actually take you far. But anyway, and another thing about spirituality also is because everybody we all ask questions like, why am I here on earth? Like what is my purpose for living? Right.
that's a good
One thing about
question.
one thing about spirituality also is while we're out, because there's two aspects to life on earth, right? There's a material aspect, so we have to worry about what we eat, where we live, and it's one thing. And another thing also is the spiritual aspect of us. We like life. We didn't just pop out of our mother's womb and then okay, now let's just go jump into the rat race, right? Yes, of course we have to take care of our needs and the body's needs and all that stuff, but we have a spiritual part to us as well because as you understand the concept that once the body passes away, something survives death, which is the soul, right? So the soul survives death, and what it takes with it is the lessons it's learned during life. All of our material accumulations and degrees, these things we leave them behind, right? We need them while we're here on Earth, but once we've passed away, we're not taking that with us, right? But what we take with us will be the memories, the growth, the lessons learned, things like that, right? How loving were you? How kind were you? How understanding were you? How did you impact other people's lives positively? Things like that.
Ex-
Non-visible,
ex-
tangible things. This is where spirituality comes into play. And when you're
exactly.
awake, then you make more conscious choices. For example, you might see someone having a bad day. When you're not awakened, for example, you might just walk by, be like, whatever. But then when you're awakened, it can be like, oh, who knows why? You see yourself in that person. You understand that we're all connected. We're all one.
Yeah,
But you see yourself making different choices now from before. You
but
know what I'm
yeah, I get what you're saying. Like before, I used to be like that. Like whenever I see like trouble going on, I always look the other way. Like I don't want to like, involve myself too much in that situation. Well, I don't want to involve myself, period, in that situation. But
Right.
like you said, like as you get older, like you learn, and as you get wiser and you get smarter and you get like, more enlightened, like you feel like you owe yourself to like, help as many people as you can and just, try and guide them the right way. But I,
Definitely.
yeah, but my parents also told me like generosity like can only take you so far in life. Sometimes you gotta like, put boundaries like between like, your kindness and with different people because in high school I didn't see this, but in college I see this more. Some people will take advantage of like, your generosity, your kindness, just having a good heart. So it's always good to like not be trusting to a certain extent. Be be trusting to a point where like, you observe their actions, like you see if like, they deserve like, your respect and your trust. But I'm not saying like don't be rude to them or be disrespectful. I'm just saying like, be very mindful of like how people like, see like religion and like, Christianity or like, Judaism or like, being Jewish because some people do not respect religion to the like how we do because we're both Nigerians, like we grew up in a very religious country.
Yeah.
So we know like, how serious religion is to our culture.
Right.
Like other people in America don't know how serious like religion is to us.
Right. 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 Yes. You have a point about you made a good point here there about when you're nice and people taking advantage of you. That's a good point.
Yeah.
This is where what we call discernment comes in. So, this is discerning like if let's say you're a nice person and people are coming to you for help. Some people genuinely need that help and some people are just trying to take advantage of you. This is where you got it. It's something that if you start to practice it, you become very. So when you, it's all about. It comes natural to some people. Some people you just have to hone in on your skills. It's all about being able to tell somehow, read people, and see if this person actually needs help or they're trying to just take advantage of your help. And the more discerning you become, the more easier it becomes for you to tell. Okay, out of 10 people that come to you for help, three or four will actually need this help, like they're in need that will help them, and then the other four they're just trying to take advantage of the fact that I'm a nice person and they just want to feed off of you. Those people you want to set your firm boundaries with, and I had to learn that
Yeah.
as well. If not,
Yeah.
people everyone is just gonna come and try to feed off of you, and some people just want
Yeah.
take, and then never
I
give
had,
it back as well.
yeah, because like in high school, like I was in like a very toxic, like, I was in very toxic friendships and like with different groups. So
Right,
that kind of like, hindered like, my trust in people for a little while. But when I got to college, like, I saw like, people of different backgrounds and like, how they operate and like how they think. I mean, I still kept that like, same belief, but like I also like, learned to like, embrace the goodness in people and just like, try and like see the good in them, like not always the bad because my mom always told me like don't always like, see the worst in people, always like look to see the good in people.
people, yeah.
Don't like if you only see the worst in people, like you can never grow as a person, you can never build like, real relationships or real human connections with people
Right,
because like I want to build like connect human relationships and connections with people. Like I don't want to just like, be looking over my shoulder for the rest of my life. I actually want to like, grow as a person.
right,
I'm still learning and growing as a person. Like I still got like so many ways to go, but like you said, like when we started this conversation right now, like I'm on the right track. Like I'm ambitious. I'm a self-motivated. Like I'm willing to put in the work and I don't make excuses. Like if I feel like I need to improve somewhere, like I'm going to improve. I'm going to work. I'm going to work hard like every single day until I get it right. Like I'm going to work to be better. I'm going to work to improve.
right,
But like you said, like always, like I said before about like knowing when to like give people like advice and like guidance like if they really need help. Like that's
right.
a really good like input. Like and I haven't developed that instinct yet, but I'm slowly getting it. But like I said, you gotta really like watch like people's actions, like how they like really need your help. Like, do they really? If they sound like very desperate, like almost like they're sad or like they're broken, then they really need your help. If they just say like very nonchalant and very casual, like I need your help, like give me something, and like if they try and like finesse you, like you
Right.
can respectfully like say no.
Yeah.
Like I'll just like make some excuse saying like I can't help you.
Right, right. Yes, yes. Yeah, you're right. You have a point. And where spirituality also comes into play is while you're it's good to be ambitious, it's good to have goals, things like that. Now the difference between you can have two people who are ambitious, right? Someone can be spiritually aware, awakened, and the other is not. The one who is awake, who is not awakened, for example, for example, it might not apply to everybody, but they might not care who they knock down in their path to get to where they're going to, right? Like they don't really see the value in other human beings. Like they put themselves first. They want to achieve their goal. They don't care how many people like they clear out of the way to get to where they're going. People they have to look down upon, things like that. I mean, we all know people who are like that, right? They're very good at setting goals and achieving their goals, but in order to get there, they put down a lot of people, look down on a lot of people to get to where they're going, and that's how they live their life. Now, if you're awakened, you just can't see yourself doing that, right? You realize that
No.
we're all interconnected. So if it's more about how many people have been impacted on the way up as you're going up there. How many people have you helped, uplift as well? Have you helped carry up on your own journey going up there? And then when you get there, are you giving back to the community and things like that? Are you fostering, peace, love, kindness, charity, things like that on your journey on your way up, or are you just selfish and um, self-aggrandizing? You only care about yourself. You only care about putting yourself first. Everybody else can come last and things like that. So this is where and another thing also about being spiritual also is you start to understand the importance of forgiveness. Like people are going to hurt you, right? But then you realize that forgiveness actually benefits the hurt and the person who hurt you, because somebody might hurt you unintentionally, right? They might not even realize it. They might say something that might hurt you, and they didn't even realize. They didn't, or maybe they know, it could go both ways, and they moved on with their life, right? But then you're there carrying a hurt inside of you, like you're so mad, carrying, and it's weighing you down. And these people are living their lives; they've moved on. So you know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, I know what
forgiveness
you're
actually
saying.
benefits the person who feels hurt way more than whoever carried out the act in the first place, right? And you become more grateful for like life events, things happening to you. You start to realize that things happen for you, not against you. If one door closes, maybe it wasn't for you. It's only a redirection to probably another. Like, let's say you apply for a job, you really wanted that job, but you didn't get that job. You might feel like, oh, I got rejected. Maybe there's a better job for you somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe there might be a smaller job that might lead to a bigger opportunity down the line. You never can tell because we can only see today and tomorrow. So it opens up your mind to possibilities. You start to see things from a different point of view. So there are a lot of benefits to being spiritually awakened because you see yourself first as a soul, as a spirit, because that it comes from that word spirituality, right? You're a spirit
Hmm.
first. You're a spirit first, but you're having a human experience. And your life didn't start at birth. Like we all existed prior to being born. I don't know if you've heard about that before. Like your life, my life, our lives in the whole world didn't start at birth. We all existed prior to being born.
Yeah, we were all like spirits before, like we became like human beings.
Yeah, the soul is immortal. It never dies. It lives on.
Yeah, the soul can never die.
It never dies. So have you ever wondered what happened prior to like, okay, so before you were born, like what happened on the soul level?
It
Have you ever
I,
wondered about what happens?
I mean, it's hard to explain though. Like all I can say is there was a time in my life when I was a child where I was very optimistic. I was happy, like I was smiling, like I was joyful, like just being alive, just having fun and just like, just enjoying like the people around me, like just enjoying like the loved ones while I still have them on this earth.
Right.
Like I'm still like joyful, I'm still happy about life, but I feel like now, like as an adult, like I've learned like, just to like not get my hopes up too much, but I don't want that to be a crutch. Like, me growing as a person. I also trying to like, find my way back into that, like, that state where I was just like, happy like all the time and just like, not always self conscious and like, very like, observant of like what's going on around me. Like I wanna get back to that point where I can just like, be free as a person and not like, not worry about anything. But
Right.
as an adult, you don't have that luxury. Like you don't have that luxury to like, go back to like those ways as a child. But
We're
that
caught up
doesn't,
in
yeah.
life. Yeah, don't have to worry. Yeah, you have a point. You have a point. I
But
mean,
as you get, oh,
we're
sorry.
part of life where we have to at least set up the basics for the next. So that might take us away for a while from being more spiritual. But it's all about having that balance. Eventually, you want to find your balance. You want to, like you said, right now you're laying your foundations for your material world, which is very nice. And now is the right time to do that. But at some point, you start to realize once you've taken care of all of that, then you might want to now start focusing more on your spiritual side. So it's all about finding the balance. You know, it's like life is a cycle of it's a phase. Like we're all different phases in life. So
Exactly.
your phase right now, you're trying to get your material world stabilized. I understand that as well. So your life works in phases and cycles as well, pretty much. And the thing about God is we are, like I said, we're all children of God. Like no one is not a child of God. It's all about, okay, how close are you to God? Do you pray regularly? Do you meditate? Um, do you even spending time in nature? And there's God in every one of us. When you help someone else, you're actually helping God. You know what I'm saying? Because we all come from Him. There's a concept that I'm going to make a video about, or I'm going to demonstrate that concept, and it pretty much shows how the good that we do comes back to us, and vice versa as well. Um, it's it's pretty much it's one of the laws of the universe in that aspect. So, um, yeah. Did you have any other questions for me?
Yes, I have like probably like two more questions for you, but we'll start with this one.
Okay.
Like, I'm going to capitalize what I said before. Like, how did you get back to like, that state of just like, being happy, not worried about like, the outside world as an adult? Because I know being an adult is very, very hard, like as life goes on.
Right.
But like I want to like learn how do you get back to that like state, or if it's possible. Like I know with God anything is possible, but as an adult and just like seeing how the world is and like how they like treat people that like don't fit into the criteria of like what the modern day like world is going. Like say like you and me are Christians.
Right.
Today's era is like mostly about like TikTok. It's like a very high social media era, like where like religion is like a non-factor and like everyone is obsessed with like different singers, rappers, and like what like TikTokers do like on a daily basis, like whether like make dance videos or like just very like silly like on serious videos that like just for fun and entertainment. So how would you how how would you like get back to that place where like social media like people and their opinions are like a non-factor to you, like where you just like locked in, focus on yourself, focus on the hard work you put in, and just how do you get back to that state where you're just like happy and just like proud with like the hard work you put in?
Right. Oh, that's a very good question. Very thoughtful question. First of all, it all starts with having a very solid spiritual foundation, knowing yourself, who you are first. Because once you have that strong identity about yourself first, it goes a long way in actually helping you set boundaries. Boundaries is not just with people, what you watch, social media, things you allow, things you consume. Like for me, I can't stand like an action movie or the movies where they're shooting guns. Like it doesn't resonate with me because it's so violent. Like where there's a lot of violence, I just cannot watch it. Right. But if I wasn't awakened, maybe it might not have, probably might not be a major trigger for me. So it all starts with having a very strong foundation, solid foundation first of who you are. And once you know that, everything else just comes naturally to you because there's this joy and peace in knowing that, oh, this life on earth is only temporary. I'm a soul first. My soul is immortal; it never dies. I'm only here for say wherever, for however long I'm going to be here, 70, 80, 90 years, and I'm back. Um, Earth is not my real home. I'm only a visitor here on Earth for a while. And once you have that solid knowing first with you at all times, everything else comes naturally. You find out that you don't let things that happen on Earth bother get to you like that. Because you know that, oh well, it's part of thing. What happens here? I'm just only here. I'm thinking about visiting, like living, like just how you came to Dallas for a few days. Let's say you notice things happen in Dallas, right? You don't let it get to you because you feel like, well, I don't live here, so it doesn't get to me, right? Then because you know that when you're going back home, where so that's how it's supposed to have that concept with you regularly at all times. Once you have that solid foundation first, then you find out everything else comes naturally to you, right? Then once you've attained that knowledge of that strong foundation about yourself and you're happy, you naturally see yourself not wanting to allow things disrupt your peace and inner peace and happiness. And then you see yourself naturally setting boundaries. Like you just cannot be friends with certain people because you know that they're going to disrupt your peace. This things just come naturally to you. Like you can't see yourself watching certain movies or doing certain things or watching, because these things. So you see yourself setting your boundaries naturally in all aspects of your life. You know, and
Mhm.
it's you also want to find yourself having like-minded friends like you, friends that have the same thought patterns as you, because it's easier once you have friends that think like you. You guys can contribute, discuss things. It helps because we human beings we are social beings. We're meant to interact with one another, and grow together and be like that support for each other, things like that. So like you said, there are different ways to achieve that state of inner balance that can work. But for me, what has worked for me the most is, and I recommend this, is first of all having that strong spiritual foundation knowledge about yourself first. Once you have that, everything else just comes naturally to you. Everything else just falls into place naturally. Yeah. Did
You're
that answer
right. You're definitely right.
Right.
And like one more question, like I told you this like when during our earlier like discussions, like when we started, like I told you like I used to be in like very toxic friend groups that would like really like mess with my mindset. Like sometimes
Right.
their toxicity will like make me question myself, doubt myself, and just make me like rethink like am I really on the right path? Like am I like what am I doing? Like am I really like
Right.
in the place I need to be? And then as I got older and now I'm in college, I realized I was always on the right path. Like I just let the negativity like just run through my mind.
Right.
So in my 20s, I made a vow to myself, never allow like never allow like toxic friends like destroy like your mindset, destroy your peace.
Right.
And like it's hard to find like people who are like in their 20s that are like very passionate about their careers, very devoted to like succeeding.
Right.
Unless they're like 26, 27, when they've reached a mature like age in their 20s. But for 21-year-olds that are like 21, 22, 23, like it's
Mm-hmm.
hard for them to like have my type of mindset and like just see things the way I see it right now, that
Right.
there's only one life and you gotta like be willing to do everything you can to like live it to the fullest, and just don't let anyone like hold you back, and like do not like let anyone like disrupt your peace. Because I've seen it a lot in college where like I've seen like a lot of toxic like groups.
Right.
I've seen like friends like literally like trash talk like their own like close friends. Like
Mm-hmm.
when like and I was and when I always like think like this is like your friend and you're throwing his name to the ground. You're literally like shackling him to this like negativity and like disruption.
Right.
Like what? Like why would a friend do that? Like
Right.
what did he do to you? Like he didn't, like he or she didn't do anything to you, and
Mm-hmm.
you're consistently throwing his name to the ground. That was
Mm-hmm.
the same with me. Like in high school, I had like a toxic friend. Like there was a time where he was a good friend in middle school, but as he got in high school, he just changed.
Right.
Like his mindset changed, like his attitude like towards people changed, and like just everything changed when he started like being around like the wrong crowd of people and just
right,
you know rub and just like rubbing off of their influence.
right, right.
Like with me, like I was never a social outcast, but I used to be like really like optimistic and like a little bit humorous at times, but
Hmm.
now I've just toned it down because I realized, like, just looking back now, like I realized like I was like I had a ridiculous mindset, like I had like an almost unserious mindset about life.
No, I wouldn't say that because you know why? Because
Yeah,
life is about experiences. Like you can't appreciate the good moments if you don't have the bad moments, right? So
absolutely.
one thing I like about you is you have the ability to reflect and look introspect and look in and see events for the way and it's something that's gonna actually take you far in life because some people like something can happen to them 10 times and they can't even see the pattern of what's happened to them. And it's the same thing keeps happening to them because there's a phrase that says life will throw the same challenge at you until you learn from it. So some people that challenge can come to them 20 times and they can't even see the pattern until maybe someone tells them about it or maybe sometime someday they just realize, oh, this has happened to me, like, so okay, I see, right? For some people it only has happened to them once and then they see, oh, okay, they learn from their experience. So it's an experience you had that okay, yeah, you learn from it right away that having the wrong influence around you can mess up with your mindset, and now you're making better choices in your 20s. Best believe some people don't even realize this until they are in their 30s. Like they'll let the whole cycle continue in their 20s until they get to their 30s, and then they wake up like, oh, okay, now I got to change my friends. So it's a good thing that you have. My brother has that. He's very good at reflecting and looking back in the past, and because at some point you evaluate your past so you can make better choices. Now, another thing you said also was having the right friends around you. So I'm gonna suggest do not limit your friend group to like people within your age group.
No,
Um,
no, no, no.
yeah, if having friends who are 27, 28, but with the right mindset and mentality will help you go
Yeah.
far in life, that's better because they'll be able to share with you experiences that you're yet to experience because you're still 21, for example. So it can help you avoid making certain mistakes, right?
Mm.
So you're a good friend of yours could be, and there's this thing called. This brings us into another whole new topic. I was going to say it as well. So if you understand, like when there's reincarnation and then we are souls having a human experience, right? Every soul, some souls are like mature souls, like some souls are like younger souls and things like that. So if you're a mature soul, which I think you might be, mature souls typically they're whatever age they find themselves in, they're normally more mature than their physical age because these are souls that have been around the block here a lot of times. They're so mature. So so within your age group, you might find yourself being more mature than the others, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you might want to explore having friends who are older than you, who can relate with you on that level. Um, and like you said, yes, it's hard to find friends on your level who are like at your age, who are ambitious and things like that. So, but don't let that limit you. Don't isolate yourself and just because we human beings are social beings. Expand your network if you want to make friends who are older. That could help you as well. At least you have friends, and also the best time to make friends are now that you're in college. So don't limit yourself to just those in your class.
Oh,
You know,
oh no, 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 no.
yeah,
I'm definitely like socializing with people like outside of like this the walls of college
right,
because like over my 4 years here in college, like I've made like friendship that were temporary because like I didn't understand like their intentions and their mindset.
right,
But now like I'm very cautious on like who I allow like in my circle. I can't just like allow anyone in their circle and just like trust them like immediately
hmm,
because as because when I was younger, like I said, I had a very optimistic mindset. Like I always try to see the good in people. 9 times out of 10, like I was always very wrong about like the people I associate myself with, not knowing like who they really are until the end.
right,
But now, like when I'm 21 right now, I even see like who they really are before things go sideways. Like last year, like I was with a group of friends. I thought we had a good vibe going. Like I thought really connected, but like the one thing I always noticed is that they never reached out. They never they never talk like in public. They always on be also always be very suspicious about each other.
Hmm.
Well, how can you be suspicious of me like when you've known me for like a few minutes?
Right.
So yeah, like people will be always be on some very suspect activity here like in college, but
Right.
that
Right.
I've learned just to be smart and just choose the people I associate myself wisely.
Yes. No, I'm actually happy that you're learning from experiences like this. It appears to be that you're a very fast learner, right? And I just want to suggest like that the ability to see the good in people. I don't want you to lose that because of a few bad experiences. It's something that will actually take you far in life. But I can also tell that you're also becoming more discerning now. When you meet people, you can tell like, is this someone I want to be friends with or I don't want to be friends with, right? So this is where that discernment comes in. And the more you practice this, the more better you become, and then you just want to trust your intuition, like things like that.
Mhm.
Become very discerning, and then that way you let certain people into your friend circle. And you can help somebody and just not be so close to them, but you can see someone that really needs help, but you can't really you can't be friends with that person like on a close level. Yeah, you can help
Mhm.
them, but doesn't mean that you have to be friends with them necessarily, right? You can help them from a distance too, and just to have boundaries set. So the more you go on in life, the more discerning you become, the more effective, the more natural it comes to you as well in that aspect. So,
I
um,
understand you. I understand you. I mean, that's all for my questions.
okay, all right, awesome. Yes, it was definitely a great session, one-on-one session, Mr. Toby.
Thank you.
Yeah, he's a very smart young new and upcoming podcaster and YouTuber. I definitely see him do well in his trade in his career. I wish you all the best. It was nice having you on this show. Nice exchange of ideas and opinions as well. And hopefully we might get to reconvene again in the near future. If you have any questions, please drop them in the comment section. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And without much further ado, have a wonderful day and a happy new year as well.
Thank you, Francis. Hope you have a happy new year too.
You as well. All right. All right. Take care.
You too.
Yeah. Bye bye.